Welcome back, folks, to World of Warships Legends. I'm Soopa-Dave, and today we are doing the build and play guide on ARP Haruna and ARP Kirishima. And the reason we're doing both of them is because they're very similar ships. They are both Congos, okay? So you see that's your normal tech tree Congo. They're not exactly, but they are very close to the Congo. Okay, so they're the same hull. There is some stat differences. There's not very that much. One being that Kirishima, you lose a little bit of AP damage to gain some AA, and on Haruna, you gain or you lose a little bit on your AP damage as well to gain a 4-6 secondary base. I would assure you if you get Haruna, I would not build this ship into secondaries with a 4.6 base, even though I guess technically it's slightly high for the tier. You can see fully built into secondaries with this ship. Uh, not It's only 7.2 kilometers, and uh, I mean they're not at this tier. They're not very accurate. They're not. I mean. If you're with how lightly armored this ship is, I wouldn't recommend getting this close and personal in this ship, to be honest with you. And you can see with the stats on Haruna, as you can see, not ideal, right? Because the guns are very inaccurate when you build into secondaries, and your secondaries don't do that much. So, with ARP Haruna, I would do the same build as I'm doing with Kirishima. And again, like I said, they're both Congo class battle cruisers or battleships in this game. They are actually battle cruisers. You'll see why that's important in later on, because they are lightly armored. So for our build, any of your regular accuracy or whatever you choose to build on Japanese will work. I'm using Musashi with Scharnhorst D. Ravel, watching you, flammable cannoneer, gyrating drill bits, marksmanship, gun layer, and fight fire with fire. So let's go ahead and take a look at the upgrades. You're definitely going to want to take Aiming Systems Mod 1. If you're going to do the secondary build on Haruna, I should worth mentioning, you could take the secondary build Mod 2. Haruna is the captain we're using with Von Hipper and Latour. So you can see here the perks. If you want to go the secondary route, which I highly not recommend, do not. You're going to waste your time and be very unhappy with that. For loadouts, you have a repair party. You have 3 of them. They're okay for the tier, and you get 3 observation planes. You can take catapult fighters or secondaries. So if you're doing secondary build on Haruna, you can take that as well. Damage control, they're short. They're Japanese, just so you're aware. So be careful when using them. Never put out a single fire. All right, so we are going to be showcase. So the health here, it actually has a lot of health, but it's very misleading. So 54,000 health at tier 4 is actually pretty good. But the armor on this thing is rough at best. The main battery guns right here, you have 8 of them, and they're decent AP. They're not terrible accuracy at the tier, to be honest. They're not that bad, but they're nothing crazy. They're like pretty average guns, and not much to be said here about that. You can see the secondaries start out at 4.2 on this ship. On the other one, they start out at 4.6, and then you got to build into them. This one has slightly better AA than Haruna, but it's not much. They're pretty similar. That's like really the only stat difference between them, as you're going to see here. To be honest, the AA for it being a Japanese battleship and Tier 4 really isn't that bad. Um, it really isn't. It actually doesn't do terrible. All right, so maneuverability. This is the big thing with these ships. Okay, you can excel very well with them. Now they are long because they are a battle cruiser, so the turning circle isn't good. But your speed even taking gyrating drill bits is higher than almost all the tier 4 battleships. Alright, you can move around the map pretty well. You're going to actually see me do that in the match I'm going to showcase. And concealment is 13 kilometers. Let's be honest, it's a battleship. You're not sneaking up on a dead moose in open water. Stats, you can see the accuracy much better on this ship than Haruna. In better games overall, an average of 85,000. You'd see a pretty, much better stats building into the main guns instead of the secondary. So, like I said, that's why I would build into the main guns. Also, we're going to take a look at the armor. This is the Congo, like I mentioned. Now, I get that there's a little bit more under this protecting your citadel. Okay, so we're going to put that back on now. Everything that is light blue here means it is overmatched by all the battleships at the tier, meaning you cannot angle in this thing well enough. There's a few reasons for it. Not only are you overmatched at your bow, and yes, you do have a little bit of a extended belt there on the front that goes away to the bow of the ship and a little bit to the back, but it does not, at this tier, it does not give you any more protection because all the shells at tier 4 or 5 or 3 are going to be kind of lofty and they're going to go right through. And below that is your citadel, which we'll take a look at in a second. The other thing is, right, so we'll take these off here. So you guys can see. There we go. We want the casemates right here. You see all these little finicky angles in here where these secondaries are? Okay, that is problematic because you take some really weird pins, even though this is decent armor right here. Because of all these weird angles here, you end up getting pinned a lot. Now, in this ship, are you going to get citadeled like crazy? If you're careful, if you're not careful, yes, but that's not really the big problem with this ship. What it is you're going to get chunks of full penetrations against you. Kind of like if you guys are later on in the tech tree and you play like the American dreadnoughts, they kind of get chunked like that as well. So just so that you're aware, and as you can see here, there is your citadel. So you don't want to go broadside, but outside of that, it's not bad. It's got a, let's see, is that a full, that's a full turtleback on it. So up close, you're a little bit safer than normal. But behind that bow that I was talking about, this short bow that battleships go right through, is your citadel. And you can be citadeled in this. Ask me how I know. Okay? So with them plunging fire, particularly American battleships, you're going to see that in our match. They can get through this bow, no problem. That the icebreaker extended belt is not helping you in the slightest on this ship. As we start the match, it's disclaimer time. This is a beginner's video meant to help people new to the ship or new to the game. This is not meant for professional gamers that know everything there is to know about everything in the universe. There are multiple ways to play and build this ship, and I am an above average player, not the world's best. I make mistakes. You may see one in this match. You didn't come here for pronunciations. I'm as good as anybody at slaughtering beautiful languages all the time. With that being said, we are on neighbors. And you can see we're going to go ahead and move up here a little bit. We're not going to be overly aggressive. We know there's a division. We know they're in California, so they have a huge advantage, right? California's are one of the best ships in the entire game, and we're under tiered, so we're in a tier 5 match with tier 4. That's not going to stop us at all. We're going to go ahead and be careful, but we're going to move in because we spawn in the middle as always. I stay in the middle, and we're going to go ahead and take a shot here at the California as it turns. Now, one thing I do want to say is this was my first match in the ship, and I forgot about the armor. And you are going to see that these two here, do go ahead and take both of them shoot right at me here, and you're gonna see what I mean about this armor. We're angled pretty well, but even that, we take a citadel through the bow and a bunch of pens, right? So if you're not, you can see if you get, this is not a ship that you can be hyper focused on, right? Even angled well would be good. So we're gonna back up just a touch, and we're gonna keep moving, making ourselves a little bit harder to hit here. At the same time, though, we're gonna win this middle. That's what our goal is. We want to win the middle, and that's a big thing. But like I said, you gotta be a little bit careful on this ship, and you just want to make sure that you're not taking too much of the enemy team's fire, right? So because you could see we couldn't heal a whole lot of that damage back since there was a citadel in there. And we're gonna go ahead and start hitting these guys back. Now, once I start shooting back, these guys are actually gonna run to the entire back of the map in California's in a tier 4 battle, or when they're top tier, which is crazy to me, but they are. Yeah, so they're gonna go ahead. You see here, after this shot here, these guys are just gonna take off and leave. Not even that I'm doing that amount of damage, but you can see we chunked pretty good there. And we're going to go ahead and move up. And you're going to see also the AA not terrible. We're going to get kind of focused by a carrier. And we're going to shoot down some of the planes. Now we get a flood. We do actually have to put it out because it does look like he's going for our teammate. So we're actually going to put that one out. Normally you want to wait till your second round of ships are there. But you can see these guys are gone, right? So we have essentially won the middle of the match. We backed off the other battleships. The only one here now is Congo. We're going to switch over to HE to go ahead and spam it, or to start a fire on them. Because on Koenig, it's a good way to get rid of them. And when they get close in, just get them burning down. But you're going to see here also there is a destroyer to take out here on the other side. Now, I see my teammates are right by it, so I was assuming they were taking care of that. You should never do that at low tiers. I kind of forgot about this. Was my first batch back at low tier. Or at tier 4 in a long time. So I forgot people do even crazier stuff than normal. And you're gonna see we have now backed off Koenig. So we've backed off everybody on our map. Everybody's backing off now. And we load AP because Free Taco is sitting right there broadside, and this is not something you can do in a Free Taco, right? So we're gonna go. I know it's Free Taco. I just call it Free Taco all the time. And look at the magic trick there, guys. You saw it to Free Taco, now you don't. Ta-da. So that being said, we have backed these guys up. So I'm not chasing these battleships that are higher tier than me off the map. You gotta, when you're in a match and you have the advantage like them California's had, I'm a tier 4 battleship that is overmatched. They should definitely take advantage of that. And hopefully they're not the type of people that run to the back of the map, then come back later on in the match and then say, oh, their team then didn't help them at all. Well, you got to help your own team. So you don't want to bail out even me, even in a position that I was at. I stayed the middle, won the middle, and now we're going to go help this flank over here. Obviously, they just got rid of the destroyer, but I wanted to go ahead and help get rid of the destroyer because that's one of my favorite things to do. You can see the carrier is still focusing on me, and we're going to help our teammate with the Iron Duke. So he's on the other side of the cap, and the Iron Duke can only angle to one person. He's angling to me. And our teammate is doing a good job of getting rid of them. And we're going to use the speed now to go in here and get the cap. Now, obviously, their team is down at a disadvantage. Their battleships are all in one little corner at the back of the map there. And also, we have cap control. Now, sure, here I could, as we go ahead and get rid of the Iron Duke, we could 100% just go and farm damage on these guys that are sitting at the back of the map. But just to make sure we're going to win, we're going to try to get this cap first. And I always recommend this at lower tiers especially. You never want to just go charging. Sure, I could get a lot of damage if I did right now. Like, I could go chase down this carrier and get some damage, but I'm more beneficial to my team. Like, you can see here, I was looking to see if he was going to get in the cap and wait. And so I'm going to head to the cap, help get it. And that's going to make sure we can't lose this match. Because, especially at lower tiers, you never know what's going to happen. And that's what I'm going to do here, is we're going to be smart. You see I'm checking my range here. And we're going to be smart, and we're going to go in and get our cap. Now, the other battleships, there is one battleship in. The other ones are still kind of far back. And there's no reason to go charging into them, right? So let's get our cap. Let's finish getting that, and then we'll go help our team and get the rest of it. But you can see we've done a decent job defending. We won the middle of the thing. We got the help get the middle cap with our destroyer. Our destroyer did a very good job of getting the cap and spotting everything. He's the one spotting the carrier right now as well. So we're going to help... So you can see our battleship left the cap. You can see that's what I mean at this lower tier. It's kind of unpredictable. This battleship just leaves the cap while he had it mostly capped. So we're going to go ahead and take advantage, or we're going to take and get this cap just to make sure we can't lose, right? This would really help do it. And we have the speed that if we get in a position, we can get out and away. But you can see now finally... the enemy division is now pushing in after their team is completely gone. So now really not a whole lot left to do here. But again, you just got to be careful of in this ship taking a lot of shells. Even though you angle, you're not safe necessarily in this ship. You got to be careful, especially to American battleships where they're kind of, Americans have lofty AP, and they come down on top of you. That is really rough for this ship, particularly the bow. So right here you can see the guys that ran away from the middle have now decided they're going to come back, and we are just going to... Now, after we've gotten the cap, we have all the caps, so the only thing left now to do is help get rid of these guys, and that's what we're going to do here. But it's going to be over pretty quickly. And the reason I only chose to do one guide for both these ships is they're so similar, and I don't recommend building. Normally, I build into what the game kind of quote-unquote says it's good at. You know what I mean? Or what unique features the ship has. But Haruna's slightly better secondaries isn't going to help anything, right? So, not going to be... At 4.6, it's not useful secondaries. Even at tier 4, I mean, maybe if you got into tier 3 match, the 7.6 secondaries might be semi-helpful. But I figure I would showcase all these ships here in one match because of that. You can see, you know, even at right now, we're getting a little bit, we're getting some chunks off of California here. When they on the way back, as you can see here, I think we get a decent little chunk here as well. So you don't want to charge in. This is not a ship I would recommend playing close up. Another reason I would not build Haruna as a secondary ship as well. But like I said, for what we did in this match, as you can see here, the match is going to come down. I think this is going to come to an end right here. I think our that California is going to get hit real hard. And that will end the match here. As you can see, yeah, he's going to eat a bunch of torpedoes and be done. So, that being said, you can clearly see a decent game. We weren't scared to get caps or win the middle. And we definitely helped our team win top of the leaderboard. Anyway, you guys have a wonderful day, and I will see you folks next time. Have a good one.